everyone, welcome to the next video from this tiny yearbook by Agotapop and Colouring Heaven. We're on page 23. We are on the fourth video of this June series. What we have today are some signposts to colour, which is interesting. Let's move them into the middle a little more. There we go. Now, I was having a think about this, whether I do them to just sort of wood or whether to do them more fun colours, and I decided that what I would do is make this post at the back in a wood colour. So I'm going to start that right now with the 387 Faber Castell Classic Color, the red card box, those pencils, and then do the signs themselves in fun colours. So I'm just putting down this as a base. It's quite a light orangey brown, and then I'm going to use a darker brown in a minute just for a bit of a contrast. So I'm going to use the 380 and I'm going to sort of sharpen it and then use it around the edges and as the sort of shadows and things like that, you'll see. So on this very top bit, just around the edge, but then fade it in because I don't want just like a definite line, and then a bit in there. These are actually quite small sections. Here, this one's a bit bigger, so we can leave maybe a little bit more of the original colour showing and work our way through. There we go. Oh, there. Now each signpost. Now this one says destination unknown, so I think these two together, and then that's Paradise Chill Out Wonderland. So I think these two I'm going to do as the same colour. I quite fancy using, is that the right one? Yes, 361 to start with. I think that's quite a nice sort of aqua type colour, turquoise, that sort of thing. I'm going to start quite lightly, and I'm going to be careful to colour in the direction that I think the wood grain would run, as if it's painted wood. And if yours looks a little bit scruffy, it's just shabby chic. It's outside in the wind. We can see it's windy from the way this is blowing up. You know, right on the beach, maybe, where there's all the sea breezes. So it's going to get a bit worn from the weathered, from the rain and the sunshine and that sort of thing. So we can sort of put some lines in it as if it's just a bit worn, and I'm going to do the same with this one and then see whether I think it looks just scruffy or whether the effect is working. So sort of darker in some areas than others, bits of lines. I'm going to sharpen it because it's not showing up enough. There we go. So what I'm thinking is where we've got a sort of crack here, make like a definite line, and here, and then just around and about. And then the same with this one, top, bottom, where the lines are here and there, different lengths of line, like that. It's not bad, but I am going to just tidy up that end. I mean, the paint might fade towards the end, but I do want to make it look more purposeful, not like I've just missed a bit, which is what actually happened. There we go. Now, if you don't like that, then just make it flat colouring. Doesn't matter. Now this one I'm going to do in a pink, and I think I'm going to use the pastel pink. It's quite pale. Now I did this is the Faber Castell pastel pencil. Now if you don't have this set, then you use number 319. I don't know if this looks almost exactly the same. In fact, it looks a bit darker than 319. Maybe maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I just wanted to use my pastel ones. Again, you don't need to think about it being too even, because we want this sort of shabby, weathered, woody sort of look, as if there's cracks in the wood, that sort of thing. There we go. Right. I'm going to go for this one. Again, I'm using this pastel-y one. This is the sort of creamy yellow. You may have to go for 304 and press lightly, or 309 maybe for this. I don't know why I decided these colours, but they're quite fun, aren't they? I think so. I'm going to sharpen this so I can get some dark up lines on there. This is a bit almost peachy colour. Maybe it's just a cream. I don't know. There we go. The last one, we've got a little arrow there. I have to think about that. I want to go for 366, which is in the back in the huh? Really? 366? It looks, it's not what I want. 363 or 362. 362, sorry. I will get there in the end at 362. That's what I want, a sort of greeny colour. Now I'm going to leave the arrow and the heart. Not sure what I'm doing with those, but we'll see in a bit. I will have a think. So not pressing particularly hard yet, just getting a light base colour, and then can start to put in some lines. There we go. Heart. I almost fancy doing it in purple, not pink. I think I will. I'm going to turn back to my pastels, which might be irritating for those of you who don't have them, but this is the purpley one. Use 339. I'm just blocking this one in. Still haven't decided on that arrow, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to use one of the classic colours for this. I want there's a really pretty 337. It's a really pretty violet. I'm going to use that. So we're going dark for the ribbons, but what I'm going to do is make it darker at each end, and then less towards the centre here, so we've got a bit of shine, like that. Then you can do the same on each of these. It's a bit darker on the ends, and then lighter in the middle bit. And then hopefully we can make it look a bit like it's sort of satiny, silky, that sort of effect on the ribbon. The sun's come out now. It's cloudy earlier, and my son sat out on our new cushions arrived for our benches, and we sat out there and just had a very quick sit for a few minutes. I was intrigued because they're supposed to be outdoor use only, fully waterproof, and yet they just feel like fabric, and I find it very confusing. I'm going to use this a little bit on the edge of here. I don't know why, I just feel like I want to outline it a bit. And it had rained a bit overnight, but they were perfectly dry and comfortable. Now I've got this arrow. It's a toss-up really. Do I do a darker colour of this, or do I do it like in a black, or just something completely different? I haven't got anything completely different that I think is going to work, unless I do it metallic. No, I'm going to do it black. I'm going to grab my black. It's $3.99, and just fill that in. There we go. Now you could go over the words. I'm semi-tempted, but I'm not very neat, so they show up more. I think I am going to do it. It'll take a bit of concentration on my behalf. But it would just help them to show up better, because obviously I've coloured over them. This next one's got really fancy writing. My writing is so messy. I used to do handwriting like this though. Never that sort of N though. When I was at primary school we were taught joined up writing. And my boys were taught it. Well, they were taught cursive writing from quite a young age, whereas we weren't taught it. We had to be able to write with unjoined up letters to a good quality first before we were allowed to learn joined up. Most people learned joined up at the same time, but it's just a few of the children who weren't quite as good. But nowadays they start you on cursive right away. But of course they might have changed it again. They change it every so often, just when you think you know. I'm really not very happy with those ribbons. I'm not thinking they're sort of working. I'm wondering whether to use this light purple in the space. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's better. That's much better. I'm much happier with that. There we go. But what I will do is grab my black and just to draw in the shadows a little bit. Just so it's a little bit clearer where one ribbon ends and the other starts. There we go. I don't know how much you can see, but there it is. And I'm just going to put a little bit of shadow in under here. And a little bit under here. And then under our heart. Yeah, there we are. It's I've never seen a road sign like it, but because Agatha drew it in such a cute way, I thought I had to colour it in cute colours. So there we go. It's quite a short one today. It's a lot more detailed to tomorrow's though. Thank you so much for watching. Hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.